Welcome to the Windows Computer and Technology channel. And it's interesting how many messages I get every day of either people saying, so did Microsoft back off or back down of the minimum requirements? Or, well, I'm waiting. Microsoft will eventually remove the minimum requirements that they put on Windows 11. Well, you're waiting for nothing because Microsoft has not only not backed down, they simply said, that's the minimum requirement, and it hasn't changed, and they will not change it. So don't think they will. For several reasons. First of all, if you're not if you can't run Windows 11, it doesn't matter. That I'll say it again and again. Windows 10 works great. There will be things like the software, all sorts of software, like the company Stardog that makes the Windows skin programs where you can actually, change the look and feel of Windows. You'll have a Windows 11 style if you wish to have it and you really want it. It doesn't really matter. And I still get a lot of people saying, well, no, there are almost no computers have TPM in the past few years. All of them do. TPM is not a problem. It looked like a problem from the start, but it's actually not TPM that's the problem. For the most part, it's really the minimum requirement in the processor, which means, you got to have an 8th generation or later to run. So no, they didn't back down, and that minimum requirement stays the same, and that's it. Now, there are some scripts that came out. One of them that I saw an article today, and there'll be a few of them available where the scripts actually help you install, even in virtual machines, Windows 11, even if you're not supported by, removing the check from the install of, TPM, Secure Boot, and processor. And so there are a few of them already there, and they're going to be available when Windows 11 is released next week. That it will enable pretty much anyone to install Windows 11. But remember one thing, because that, I think, is where a lot of people that say, well, there are scripts out there, so I'll be able to install it, miss one point. Is, you'll be able to install it. Microsoft still knows that you're unsupported. What that means is that whatever happens after, it's going to be the depending on what they decide. Because if they decide, even if you bypass all of that and you have Windows 11 on your machine, if they decide that Windows updates will not work with update security and stuff like that, you won't get them. Because they'll see that your machine is unsupported. So, it's something that you got to understand. It's that if you bypass it, you will still be an unsupported machine. And it might work, it might not. It might work great for years. It might work great for a few months, and then stop updating for some reason. That you need to still know, because they will not send updates if they want to. I think security updates once again are going to be there, because it would be pretty much careless on the part of Microsoft not to at least issue security updates, because that would make too many people at risk with refusing to send up updates for security. But still, minimum requirements are still there, and that hasn't changed. And the more I think about it, the less I think it's it is a problem, and who cares? For the people that so many people talk about the e-waste and the landfills. It ain't going to change. All these computers were anyways going to end up at a landfill. It's the way it works. And thinking that by changing the minimum requirements it makes that faster or changes that, it doesn't really. I see the way that people work with their computers and how they easily change to another computer when there's a minimum of problems. A majority of people don't have a tech guy. You know what they do? And I've seen that a lot. They have a PC, and when it doesn't work well or starts having problems, they just go buy another one. You'd be surprised at how many people actually do that. But once again, I think we're in a different world right now. Windows 11 is there. Windows 11 has that minimum requirement. Windows 10 users are going to continue using Windows 10. And you know what? I suspect that when 2025 arrives with Windows 10 end of support, one of the things that's going to happen is a lot of people will have moved on to something else than Windows, because the trend is there. People are moving away from traditional computers. Don't think people are going to go to Linux. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. And for the majority of stuff, I see people saying, well, you do everything on Linux. You do more on Windows. And all the people that need to have that more factor, that doing more on Windows, need Windows. Linux ain't going to be there. And it's not true that Linux is easy to use for the majority of people. It is not the case. Okay? It still has too many weirdnesses. And for people that say that it works great, I've had several distros, and I can tell you that I don't know how many times there were problems in updating the system and all sorts of things. And I can tell you that it's untrue that Linux is always a perfectly working operating system, just like, or the distros at least, like Mac. It's not the case. If you're in Linux and you're fine, that's your world and that's okay. But thinking that people go to Linux, it ain't gonna happen, and that I guarantee it's not what people do. And if today I said 60% of people don't know what Windows 11 is all about, that it's something coming up soon. Well, I can tell you that 80% of people probably don't know what Linux is and never really, barely heard of it, or have absolutely no idea what it is. It's a very different thing from the people that are here that follow this channel, from the regular folks of everyday life, which is very different. And, it's minimum requirements the way it is. It's okay. And I think there's way too much hype on Microsoft should change all of that. It's the way that things go from now on, and people will move on to other devices. We're talking about Chromebooks. They're getting more popular. It's not just education. Yes, education is a big, big chunk of Chromebooks, but more and more people at home are finding that, a Chromebook is great. It does what I want, and it's way simpler than using a huge operating system like Windows. Don't forget that 90% of all that Windows can do, people don't use it. They just want to have something that goes on the web, and that's why tablets and smartphones are so popular as these types of devices. They're simple, and you do what you want, and you go on the web. These are much more where people are going to go, and much more of a threat for Windows and for PCs in general as time goes by. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.